Hey everyone, welcome to this unorthodox video that I'm going to be doing today. I'm calling this the BitDoctor altcoin operating table. I'm going to be looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different altcoins today. I will spend no more than 3 to 5 minutes on each one, just to try and keep the video length down to a minimum. But of course, before I get started, this isn't financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm only giving my opinion here in the market. And you're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research. I'm going to go through these altcoins in the same way that they are titled here in the video, starting with VeChain, moving to Ethereum Classic, then Holochain, Tron, and then Cardano. And German Fantasy, you want Chainlink, so it's not in the description, so I will go ahead and take a look at Chainlink at the end. So I'd be more than happy to do that for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at VeChain. What I'm going to do here, as I go through all of the analysis on all of these, I want to pay attention to, I want to pay attention to support and resistance levels, historical support and resistance levels, and I want to take a look using our indicator. I'm going to condense this a little bit. I'm going to condense this, and I'm going to keep the 3-day time frame, and I'm going to keep the hourly time frame on here as well. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep the 3-day, and I'm going to keep the 12-hour on here. I'm going to remove a lot of the others in here that we don't use too often. So I'm going to move here to a 3-day time frame. And I'm going to compare what the 3-day indicator looks like compared to the 12-hour indicator, which is what I like to pay a lot of attention to here. So the green down here in our indicator is going to be indicative of the 3-day time frame, and the red is going to be indicative of the 12-hour. The 12-hour is going to look a little jagged because we're on a 3-day time frame, so it's going to look a little different. But nonetheless, this is looking pretty good. Obviously, the 3-day candle here looks absolutely atrocious, and I'm probably going to sound like a broken record on this. I'm probably going to sound like a broken record because there is only 5 hours and 14 minutes left on this candle, and we have taken out 2 prior 3-day candles. Almost a week's worth of gains are gone. So once this does decide to close, I would expect that there is going to be continued downside. We've got a lot of clustering over here. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my volume profile. And I'm going to move the chart over to the left. I only want to see data from basically right before the 2019 flip and all of 2019 into right now. The area that I'm really interested is going to be down here actually at about 5,200. It looks like our high volume node, our point of control here in this entire range is going to be sitting here at about 5,600. But I hate to say it, but I do think that even though there's going to be a bounce potentially up to maybe 7,500, I think that there is a good probability that we do come back down here to this range, which is going to be at about 51 to 5,500. So right now, just keeping it plain and simple, I would not suggest buying VeChain right now. I could be wrong, and there could be a bounce up to about 74, 7,500, but I think there's a continuation move to the downside. We just had a nasty red candle here on the 3-day time frame. That does not mean that this is over, okay? The last time we had something like this was back here. We had a 3-day red candle that took out the gains from the 2 prior 3-day candles, and the next the next candle was a serious wick to the downside. I can totally see that happening here. Once this opens, serious wick to the downside. We're going to need to see some absorption here. We need to see some absorption controlling the 6,200 level. We need to see absorption back to 6,200. A nice wick down here to the 5,200 level is what I would really like to see on VeChain. But for right now, I'm definitely not recommending a buy on VeChain. The 3-day stochastic is starting to cross to the downside. It will be confirmed more than likely here in about 5 hours, unless some way, somehow, VeChain decides to make its way back up to 8,000. I think more downside is ahead of us on VeChain. This 3-day candle, almost the entire volume was red. Almost the entire volume was selling pressure. So be careful with that. Let's take a look at Aetherium Classic. Not sure that I want to take a look at the Coinbase chart because not a whole lot of history there. But let's take a look at Aetherium Classic here on on this. Let me go ahead and remove all of my indicators. I had a good count on this, but I'm going to go ahead and do this from scratch. I'm seeing a fresh cross again on this on the 3-day. The last time the 3-day stochastic was down here in oversold territory was all the way back here where Ethereum Classic was down at like $3.50 to $4. This would have been the place to buy. We had a bearish cross on this big wick here. And then we have another one that is just in the process of forming right now. So again, unless Ethereum Classic can find a way to come back up above this level here, which is at about $11.30, I do think that we do have some more continuation to the downside. We have this level right here, which is going to be important for us to reclaim eventually. And again, that's at about, we'll call it $11 right on the money. We'll just go ahead and move this down here. It's about $11 because that's really where we're looking for. We have resistance, the first resistance, second resistance, support, 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 breakthrough. I would expect probably are going to see a move back up to about $11. But essentially, I do think that we do have some continuation to the downside. Next area that I am interested in, and let's go ahead and just mark this out here. Again, taking a look at all of 2019, we've got resistance here, which is basically where we're sitting at right now. So this is working to be confirmed support. But then more importantly, we've got this cluster right down here. I'm actually going to highlight this in terms of a range. And I'm going to range this based off of this candle right here. So I'm going to move this down just a little bit. This is the area that I would be interested. I'm probably not going to play Ethereum Classic. I'm doing this for the sole purpose of all of my followers out there. But this is the area based off of this candle and this candle alone. Look at where the confluence lines up. We have lots of confluence here on Ethereum Classic working its way back. So we have resistance, resistance, lots and lots of support here. Lots and lots of support. And then we had support here, then it became resistance, we fell through, we retraced quite a bit, and then we reclaimed it, and it became support, 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 and now we're likely going to come back down here and retest this area. I don't want to see it cross below $8 on especially on a 3-day time frame, but even on a daily time frame, crossing below $8 is probably not a good thing. Let's take a look at a Fibonacci retrace on this entire move. From the bottom to the top, we are basically sitting at the 382, but the 50 is right there at 825. 50% is your friend on a retrace, on a big, big move like that. If we break $8.25, so in other words, on a daily, if we close below $8, we're probably going to come back down to $7. $7 would be the next area where I am very interested, and I actually probably would take this trade to buy, because right down here at the 618, let's just go ahead and mark this off. Working our way over, take a look at this. That's where this candle got rejected to, and this is where this candle had support. And then we have some clustering here, some resistance. So right there at $7 is going to be our next interested area for buying. This looks like a good place to be buying if we do break below $8. Again, from $8 to $7 is a 12.5% move. That's a dollar down from $8. 1 out of 8 is 12.5, so 12.5%. Move down here to the 618, but buying here the 618 is a high probability move. Likely would see continuation to the upside up to approximately $15.50. So that would be a 100% move if it comes down here to the 618. If it comes down here to 825. I still think there's a good chance that this could see a continuation up to about 1550 or so, but I do think that these are areas that I would be interested in buying. I'm not saying to throw blind bids out there. Again, I'm going to keep saying this over and over as I go through all of these different altcoins. Don't throw blind bids out there because this could just continue moving. I'll update everybody on Discord as long as we're interested in these assets, but these are levels that I am interested in seeing there being some bounces. One thing that has me concerned is the cross here on the 3-day. So if this gets below 75 or 85, but if it gets below 75, then I do think that there is potentially we have some more pressure to the downside. But letting things breathe and relax a little bit, coming back down to the 50, is a good high probability trade setup. All right, let's move to our next one. We have Holochain. Okay, this is my favorite one here. So let's take a look. Let's go back to, let's hear this 2019. we have only 2019 to take a look at on the Tether trading pair. I've got a lot of stuff on here. I'm actually going to move back here. I've got some support and resistance levels that I've outlined here, but let's go ahead and just clear off the chart. We'll kind of go from scratch here. So right now, Holochain looks a little more constructive. Holochain is one of those that hasn't had the pump like a lot of other altcoins have. It's one of the reasons why I haven't sold my Holochain. Well, one, because I was accumulating down here. So I'm still looking okay in my Holochain hold, but we just basically hit ourselves up against some interesting resistance. Let me remove our volume profile here. So what we have some resistance that is right here in this range. We have lots of candle open and close in this range. So if we can overtake 9,000 on a 3-day time frame, then really our next level that we're going to be paying attention to is going to be right, I would say, yeah, right here. Let's mark this off, because this is going to be the next area that I'm going to be interested in, and that's going to be at about 15,000. So right here we have an open and closure. Again, we had basically a 50, it's not Satoshi, but basically a 50-point move on this particular candle, which is basically nothing. We have candle closure below it, and of course the candle open right there. We have rejection here, we have rejection there. So naturally, if we are able to overtake this, especially if we can overtake 10,000, which I think is probably naturally going to be the next level that we really should be paying attention to. But if we can overtake this level right here, especially on a 3-day time frame, then I would say that we do have significant probability we're going to have significant move to the upside. Again, we have to overtake this level right here. So if you don't want to, buy into the trade here, we're sitting at support right now, which is right here. This is our support, and let me get my line tool right here at about 7,000. We've got basically our resistance, then support, resistance, all through along. And now we're trying to reclaim this as support. If we break down below 72, we'll call it 7,200, I probably will consider selling my holochain and working to reaccumulate back down here again. This is a pretty bad candle, but I do think that there is potential continuation to the upside still. Probably sound crazy for saying that, but I do think that this does have some potential for continuation to the upside, which is why I haven't sold it yet. So that's what I've got on holochain. Next up is going to be Tron. Let's take a look at Tron versus Tether. This one, again, a lot of the alts are going to look very similar, but this one, again, is sitting basically right at support. And that's going to be right here in this area right here. So let's just take a look and see what we've got right here in forms of support. So we've got a wick to support here. And let me just go ahead and outline this some more. We have another support wick here, support, support, and then we've got resistance. And now this is really the first time we really have tested this level. First time we really tested this level here at about basically 2 cents, almost exactly 2 cents. What I am interested in paying attention to here, let's just go ahead and take a look at this. Going from the top down here to the bottom. So we had rejection here at the 382, and then we pushed up higher. We got rejection at the 50. Now, are we going to get to the 618? That's a good question. Still remains to be seen. But on the flip side, let's take this from the opposite direction. Question is, if we go and use our trend-based fib tool, we take a look here from the bottom to this pivot, and we move our way down. Where did we stop? We stopped at the 123.6. This is concerning to me because typically when you see something like this, it is an A and a B and a C if we get rejected at the 123.6. If you want a 1, 2, 3, and of course if you are bullish, you're going to want this. You've got a 1 and then you've got a 2. You want the 3 to be up here, and then we go for the 4 and then we go for the 5. I was talking about I was talking about Tron potentially getting up to about 40, not 40 cents, that would be crazy, 4 cents. 4 cents to 4.4 cents. That's kind of where my bullish target is for Tron. But we've got to push higher. And I am concerned that we are now trading, basically inside of this wick area that we have on this first move. I'll call it a first move. I'm not going to call it a 1. I'm not going to call it an A. This is the first move up. We're trading right now inside of this wick, so likely we're probably filling some volume in here. That's probably okay, but I really need to see Tron go back up to 3 cents in order to really maintain some bullish sentiment on that. On the 3-day, again, we are overbought, and we are seeing a cross continuation move to the downside, or at least some consolidation. And again, consolidation could take weeks. It could take weeks. But watch to see what happens here at this level. I don't want to see Tron go back down below 2 cents, because if it does, it could even mean that we're going to lower prices. But going back down to like 1 to 1.5 cents is probably going to happen if we break down below 2 cents. All right, Cardano. Cardano has had some interesting moves as well. It looks similar to Tron, but I've already outlined support and resistance levels on this. We didn't quite get to 7.5 cents like I was talking about the other day. Didn't quite get there. We only got so high as to hit about 7.2 cents. Right now we are bouncing at the 382, which is good. Means that it can continue back up to about 8 cents, maybe 8.2 cents. That would be a target for us to really be paying attention to. But this is the first significant pullback that we've had basically since December. So this pullback naturally was bound to happen. We've come back, to the 382, 38.2% retrace of the size of this move, and again looking for that continuation to about 8 to 8.2 cents. As far as the Bollinger Bands go, we were trading outside of the bands on the way down. We're trading outside of the bands on the way up. We bounced off of the upper of the Bollinger Band on the 3-day time frame. Again, this also is concerning that we could have continuation move to the downside on this. We have a fresh cross that will be confirming in about 5 hours on the 3-day time frame. So again, this looks very similar to some other alts. We've got our upside target here to about 8.2 cents, but potentially a move back down here to 5.1 cents to maybe 4.6 cents is on the table. So keeping an eye on that. Last but not least, Chainlink has been defying a lot. We do have a bit of a, the spinning top here. And if we move our way back up to about $4.43, this is a little concerning. Very similar to the others, we've got a fresh 3-day cross that we'll be confirming here in about 5 hours. Let me go down to a daily time frame because Chainlink is different than most. We've got a lot of candle body open and closures here in this range. So, I think that at least on a daily time frame, this range starting from right here and then up on the upper of this, I think a daily closure outside of each one of these will lead to a raid of the prior highs and lows. So what I mean by that is, if we see, let me go ahead and get myself set up for this. We go our arrow. If we see a break on the upside, a daily closure to the upside, chances are pretty good we make a raid for $5. If we see a raid, a candle closure to the downside, which is what it looks like it wants to do, it looks like we're going to make a raid for down here at about $3.70. We have been opening and closing in this range for 3 consecutive, actually 4 days now. So watch this as it works in it, as it plays out, because this range here, and again, this is a range between about $4.30 to $4.50. This range here is setting itself up for a big move. And right now, unfortunately, it does look like it wants to make a move to the downside, but we're gonna have to wait and see. We have lots of volume, lots of interest here, but we have the daily, we've got the 12-hour. Let me take a look at the 3-day because I believe the 3-day is doing the same thing. The 3-day, as we wait for this to load, is crossing down as well. So it would not surprise me one bit to see this start to move down. What I don't see, because we did make a higher high, we've got a high here and then we have a higher high on here. I might have to go to a higher time frame to really, really take a look at this, but I'm not seeing any bearish divergence on this. Let me go ahead and move to a weekly time frame. And again, my stochastic here is going to be on a weekly. And let's see what this looks like. We've got this high right here, and we are making a higher high on the stochastic. So this looks not bad. Honestly, this does not look bad at all. Let me move to logarithmic scale and see what we have as far as fib pulls go on this move to the upside, and see if there is any confluence here from this at the very bottom up here to the very top. We've got a pullback to the 382. Let me make sure that I'm looking at this on a log scale, and I am. I'm sure if I went to a linear scale, this would probably be pretty skewed. I'm going to keep this on a log scale. So came back to the 382. Really, technically, the upside target for this would be looking for a move up to about $8.36. And it looks like the 382, has really been holding. We had, a couple weeks where we did kind of move down below, but the 382, it does seem to be holding. So, very possible that if this does break to the upside, we could come back down here and retest $3.27, but likely a move up to about $8.36 seems to be on the table if we are bullish. The weekly stochastic still looks fairly well. It doesn't look terrible. It's going into overbought conditions, but honestly, it hasn't been there. Using the BitDoctor settings, it hasn't been there in its entire history, at least on Binance. So this is looking for a decent continuation to the upside, and maybe we have already done our retest of this $3.75 range. But really, I would like to see a move down to about 330 before we see that potential blast up to about $8.40. All right, guys. I've been talking for 22 minutes and 29 seconds. I think that's it for now. I do appreciate you watching and tuning in. I hope this video did help you, and if it did, I appreciate you liking, subscribing, sharing, all that good stuff. And wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, good night, good evening, and stay happy and healthy.